Hello, and welcome to Community Difference Makers, brought to you by Bankers Trust and United Way of Central Iowa. I'm your host, Emily Abbas. Over the past 2 episodes, we've talked about childcare from both a systems and an economic perspective. We've talked about the policies, the costs, and the pressures facing families and providers across Central Iowa. Today, we're bringing it closer to home. This episode is about lived experience. It's about what childcare looks like day to day for educators, for families, for teachers. The challenges, the breakthroughs, and the moments that remind us why this work really matters. And it really matters so deeply. Joining us are Kate Bennett. Kate's from United Way. We've got Kay Strahorn from Conmigo, and also Brittany Brown, a teacher at the Conmigo Early Education Center, who, if I'm correct, you're also a parent. You have kids that attend the center as well.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So your family, just like others, relies on quality childcare every day. So you can share both of those perspectives with us. Together, we'll explore what quality early learning really means and how support systems make a difference. And what these stories can teach us about building a stronger childcare system for everyone. So thank you all for being here today. I know we're going to have a great conversation and we're all going to learn a lot on how we can move this important, critical community issue forward. Okay, we'll start with you. You're closest to me, so you're in the hot seat. When people hear the phrase quality early learning, it can sound very abstract. From your perspective, what does quality look like in real life, in the classroom, and in children?
Yeah, like as you said, like quality education has just kind of become just a phrase that everybody describes their center as being, and so what does it really mean? Well, for one thing, like I'll tell you one thing that it isn't, and that is screen time. Like if there's a center and you're taking a tour and you see a bunch of TV or iPods going with videos, like, no, that's not what quality childcare is. What it really is and what it really begins with is relationships. The children need to feel trust. They need to have a sense of safety where they are, especially it begins with the teachers. And, once that trust and sense of safety is built, then it can grow into like friendship and loving relationships with the teachers and, the other kids. Also, like quality early childhood learning is learning through play. There should not be a lot of like worksheets and that sort of thing. It's learning through play, through consistent routines. If the children have like those consistent routines, they have the knowledge of what's coming next, which enables them to like take the pressure off the day. They understand what their days are going to be like. Yeah.
So Brittany, as both teacher and parent perspective, how do you know when your child's in the right place? What tells you or gives you the sense that this is really good care?
So piggybacking off of Kay with the routine and the consistency, like my daughter came home and showed me that she had a routine. So I could tell that she, had a consistent good development going on in her classroom. She will wake up early on weekends and, be ready for the day, just like it was a weekday. She didn't care that it was the weekend. So, I communicating with her teachers for sure, showed me, and being in their classroom they have displays of like her routine, and I put 2 and 2 together, like, oh, this is what you're doing. So I'm like, okay, we'll do those things to continue that routine at home as well. And she definitely, that's how I knew she was in the right place, for sure.
It gives you the opportunity to then have routine at home as well, doesn't it? Okay, what's one part of your job that's especially hard right now, even though it's clear that you love this work?
Yeah. I would say right now, I've been a director for over 8 years. And I would say that the hardest part right now is supporting the teachers in the work that they do, because their jobs are so hard, and they try so hard to meet all the needs. But it's really challenging for them. We have 9 classrooms at Conmigo, and 5 of them are supported through Drake Early Head Start. And Drake Early Head Start, part of that program is that we have an instructional coach that comes in weekly to support those teachers and work with them, give them guidance, help them problem solve different situations. But the other 4 classrooms do not have any sort of coach or consultant coming in to help them. And so that falls to me. Mm-hmm. And it's a really important part of my job, but it is really, really difficult with all of the other things that I do to make sure that I fit that in. So there's 4 classrooms that don't have coaches. And so I've told them like once a week or once a month, I will be in your classroom for a full morning. Okay. And then we can, discuss. I mean, they can come to me anytime, but, it's just really hard to make that happen. And it has to be a part. I mean, I already work and have for the last 8 years an average of like 60 hours a week. Wow. And so fitting that in, it's a challenge, but it's also really important. Yeah.
You do everything you do to pour yourself into it. And sometimes that's not a 40-hour work week, it sounds like.
No, never. Not in early
childhood.
But
glad to hear that Drake's a part of it too. I'm a big Bulldog fan, so go Bulldogs.
Go Bulldogs.
Brittany, what's been the most stressful or uncertain part of finding and keeping childcare for your family specifically?
I know in the past, I have 2 older girls and 1 2-year-old. So she was the one that I was kind of able to find daycare. It was a needle in a haystack, I could say, just because based off like affordability and, experience, interest, and that development prone curriculum, I, back then it was harder for me to find like, what can I say? Like very like what you said, the play
based.
Yeah. And back then the childcare centers that I found, they for sure, they didn't show that. Like it was just playground, come in, eat, and color, and that's it. Like Conmigo is more outside of the box when I did find that. Mm-hmm. And the affordability was there as well. And I'm just grateful, they have that diverse environment. So I would say just finding the right place is a little bit stressful,
It sounds like it was hard to find, but you found the right place. Mm-hmm. You're in the right place and your kids are in the right place.
Yes, I did.
Good. I'm so glad for you. Kate, when you hear these challenges, where do United Way's investments make the biggest difference for families and for educators?
Yeah, well, obviously there are a lot of challenges in childcare. And I think that one thing that might be something that's not commonly known is that childcare programs that receive state childcare assistance or take a large portion of their kids on state childcare assistance are oftentimes underfunded compared to those that are strictly taking private pay or market rate. So our Women United Coalition is made up of centers that focus on serving that ALICE population. And so we do direct funding to them to try to make up that gap between taking a large percentage of state childcare assistance versus private pay. Additionally, we provide a lot of training for the childcare providers, upskilling, supplies, things that really focus on making the program higher quality, getting kids ready for kindergarten, as well as supporting the teachers. We're pleased that we've been able to provide some wage stipends and incentives to increase wages. So lots of things. We also have a program called Book Buddy, where we have volunteers that go in and read with kids to get kids ready for kindergarten. So it's really about supporting the quality of the learning environment, supporting the quality of the workforce, all the things that Kay mentioned, all with the outcome of getting the kids ready to go to kindergarten and be successful.
I'll say that United Way and Women United are super important to what we can offer at Conmigo. We would not be able to provide the care that we do without the support of United Way and Women United and all of we do have book buddies at our program. Women United is so important, to what we do. So, yeah, we truly appreciate that partnership with United Way and Women United.
I'm so glad you chimed in and said that too, because it's important that the volunteers and the people that are a part of that program understand that the people that are impacted most realize that that's and are saying that that support really helps.
Yeah. No, we couldn't do what we do without United Way.
Yeah. Kate, you talked a little bit about professionalizing, or when we think about professionalizing or supporting childcare workforce for the long term, what's United Way's role in that, and what ideas are out there?
We have, since Women United was formed in approximately 2002, we have invested in training, and that's looked like curriculum training and providing quality, evidence-based curriculum for the whole center. That's about paying teachers for their time that they attend trainings outside of the workday. I mean, like all of us would go to a professional development opportunity. We would most likely be paid by our job to be there. We wanted that same experience for the Women United. We've been able to really invest in the career pathways through a program like Teaching Wages. Staff can go back to school if that's what they choose to do, earn a child development credential, an associate's degree, a bachelor's, and we've even had staff that have earned master's degrees as they've been in the childcare centers. So we know that most of the workers within the childcare are below that ALICE threshold, below that $14 an hour. And our goal is to try to get their wages as high as we can, but not only about the wages, to really improve their environments and do things like recognition. We had a grant recently from the National Fund, which really helped us focus in on recognition and retention. And I think Conmigo took advantage of that. And, we surveyed the staff, and some of the things, obviously pay was important, but some of the things, it was just about being thanked for what they do. And I mean, all the things that slip our minds for any of us that are in a workplace. We don't often feel like we're thanked or get thanked. And so we were able to create spaces and places for staff to take a rest, have a coffee break, and then also the recognition. So those have all been really, some of them are higher cost, some of them are low cost, really about retaining the workforce and keeping the quality workforce that's there.
Okay, and Brittany, from your perspective, we know that many childcare educators are deeply skilled professionals like you are. Yet the work's not always treated that way or seen that way. What other kind of supports? Kate's mentioned many of them, but things like mentorship, peer networks, professional developments have helped both of you grow or even just stay in the field.
Mm-hmm. I would say support from these programs really encouraged me to, get the word out and spread the word to other moms, single moms, to guide them in the direction of these centers that have partnerships like United Way, because I could remember when we were having the SNAP benefit crisis, and I'm one on, SNAP. So it's definitely, there was gift cards given. There was, donations that really helped my family. So I definitely spread the word to, help everybody that I know,
Mm-hmm. Kate, stories are so impactful, and we're hearing so many today. Is there a moment or a story that shares how reliable, high-quality childcare can truly change a child's life?
I mean, there's many. We have had children in foster situations, children with trauma backgrounds or current trauma situations. We've had children with unidentified special needs, and we've helped the family work through that to get the child what they need. But I do want to tell you a little story about Ashley. She is our Director of Development and Operations at Conmigo. She is, she went to Conmigo as a child, and her family at that time was going through a really hard time. But what she remembers about that time isn't necessarily the challenges at home. What she remembers is like her teachers at school and how she felt at school. And she said that there was one teacher who's still at Conmigo, who would take her home after school, and she'd like spend the evening with her and her family, and she'd have dinner there, and she just thought it was for fun, you know. But she just remembers, she remembers thinking like, these are good people, like, and so she was surrounded by that at Conmigo, and, the family's great. She's great. So it has impacted her because we know her outcome, right? Like, so in high school, she was, very successful, lots of extracurriculars. She was the first in her family to go to college. She graduated with a degree in biomedical sciences with plans to go to medical school, but so when she graduated, that wasn't really financially possible. And so she came back all through college. She came back to Conmigo on her breaks to she was a seasonal employee at Conmigo. But after she had graduated, she came back and just started working full time until she could kind of figure out what she wanted to do next. But she came to Conmigo and she has stayed. She became our assistant director. Mm-hmm. Now she's our director of development and operations. And she talks all the time about how Conmigo set up her and her brother and sisters for, success in life.
Mm-hmm. That's a powerful
It's really
story.
Impactful. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask you at the end what gives you hope when it comes to this situation that everyone's navigating, and that story gives me hope. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And you never forget. I mean, you remember all of us remember our personal experiences of being in childcare as a youth, and that example brings it back. You remember the people that take care of your kids. My kids are 21 and 24 now, and I'll never forget Jamie. Jamie was the childcare worker that took care of both my kids. I mean, you don't forget the Jamies in your life. So
yeah,
thank you. So Brittany, how has Conmigo helped you as a parent?
Again, the support brings the stability. I could think of a story when I didn't have, I was having car trouble, and Conmigo they don't have transportation, but definitely they went out of their way to bring me and my daughter to work and school, So the stability in childcare is, to have the ability to have that is very important to me and my family, because I don't have a huge support system outside of work and my daughter's school. So it's like when I needed them, they were there. And I feel like if more childcare centers can be like that, that would be, very impactful.
And the fact that Conmigo incorporates the Spanish language and Hispanic culture into programs, how important is that for you and your child's experience with the center? And how does that affect how you trust the care that's given?
I would say with the way that the world has gone over the decades, diversity is very big. So without a doubt, like, I was okay with my daughter being exposed and me even educating myself so we can communicate with with each other and her teachers, and we can share our cultural differences, and they take heed to that with the drop of a hat. Like, they're, so open about, wanting to know how we were raised, what's important to me and my culture, and they teach the important things from their culture, to my daughter, and she brings it home and she has fun with it all the time. So I love it for her,
It's great. So based on your lived experience, you probably have lots of ideas, but what does the broader childcare system need in order to work better and be more sustainable? You see it every day. What ideas need to be lifted up and others jump into?
I'll say, building on what Brittany just said, we, United Way and Conmigo, have been partners for a long time. And for a long time, and I don't know if it's still the case, Conmigo was the only bilingual early learning center in the state of Iowa. And so that has drawn people to want to visit Conmigo over the years. Lots of people, volunteers, politicians, community leaders, early learning professionals. And what has always left them about Conmigo is that the kids and the staff are so happy. I don't think I've ever heard someone walk out of Conmigo and not say, what a great place. I wish my kids could have gone there. I wish I would have known about Conmigo when I had kids. It is just a happy, happy place. And that's reflected in, I think, the children and the staff and the leadership. So that is a consistent thing that we've heard for decades and decades. So.
I will say we're not the only bilingual. I don't know about the state, but I do know there's another bilingual center in Des Moines. So, yeah. Okay. But I'm going to say that what we need in childcare is more investments in the workforce. When I came to Conmigo 3.5 years ago, our starting pay for teacher aides was $11.50. My goal from the beginning was to increase those wages. My goal is to increase them to living wages, and then we're not going to stop. We're going to continue and increase them to professional wages. Currently, we're at $13.50 for starting teachers. Bilingual teachers get a 50-cent differential, and 80% of our staff is bilingual. But I just think that it's so difficult to get, good quality people to come to the field. But and then when they come to us, like, we support them. We want them to get education, CDAs, associate degrees. There's the TEACH program that helps them, to do that. Once they do get education, they get on the wages, and there's stipends to help them earn more money. But really, once they get to that level, they are, they can move on to other public schools, or, that maybe have better benefits, so, and I don't blame them, they need to take care of their families. So, I just think there needs to be more investments in the early care and education workforce, that will help them. We're very lucky at Conmigo. Ashley, who I spoke about earlier, she's our director of development and operations. The development part, she's working on, we just know that we need to have more, streams of income rather than just through tuition, because we can't just put it all on our families. And so she's working on fundraisers, grants, developing, like a donor base, different things like that. And so all of those things are going to help us get our teachers better wages and that sort of thing. So, but, we have a super supportive board that wants the same things. And, but there's the majority of centers don't have those things. Like, I would say we're definitely the minority that, that we can try to be doing those things, but, there just needs to be, more investments in the workforce. And I love, I've been in the field for, over 30 years. And, when I started, like, there was definitely no respect for the field. And that has started to change. But what has totally changed in probably the last 10 to 15 years is that it's at least being spoken about. Everybody understands that there are problems in the early care and education field. And there are solutions. There are things that are being discussed, with agencies, with, politics, state, federal level. So those kinds of things are important, and we need to continue speaking out and speaking up for that.
And that's why United Way's role in advocacy is so important, and the role that Women United plays in being advocates, and then our own policy agenda. We are childcare is at the top of the list every year, trying to encourage the state and the federal government to make those policy changes that will support childcare.
Mm-hmm. And that's the reason we're all here today. Let's lift up these critical community issues. Let's spread the word. Let's amplify, because the more people working to tackle them together, our collaborative community will be more successful.
What Kay doesn't talk about is how when my kids were little and I was, Kate Bennett working at United Way in early childhood, she was an in-home provider and I begged her to bring my kids there and she did not care.
I didn't have room.
So she has been a very well respected. I think you were president of the local chapter of
The union.
Yeah.
The Family Childcare Union. I wasn't president. I was, what was I? Election chair.
Yeah. Okay. So she had a big title and a very well respected in-home provider. Yeah. So
there's a lot of connections here
Yes.
between taking care of each
Yeah.
other's
Yes.
kids to explore.
Yeah.
Can I say, Emily, that
Please.
with just imagine having increased wages would keep, the teachers there, because they're comfortable with their income. And I would love to see my kids grow up with the same teacher, because the consistency matters. That is a huge impact on them, because with the different teachers coming in and now, it changes their routine.
Yeah.
So I would love to have that.
I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Brittany's story. She's a single mom of 3. She works full-time at Conmigo.
Yeah.
She has another part-time job, and she is taking advantage of the TEACH program, and she's going to DMAC to get an associate's degree.
Yeah.
High five.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, incredible.
Amazing.
Thank you.
You will never regret investing in yourself and your kids.
No,
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
sharing your story today too.
thank you. So
My
much.
last favorite question, and I want to end on the same one that we end most episodes, is let's talk about the positive outlook. What's something each of you is seeing or experiencing that gives you hope about the future of childcare in our community? And who wants to go first?
I could say that, like Kay said, with the what did you say, Kay? I'm sorry.
Give me a little bit.
Positivity with the talk about the needs of childcare and the diversity, the wages. Like, I agree. That's for a big step.
Mm-hmm.
It's very we need to keep talking it up. So that's a very big positive for me.
Yeah.
Because change will come after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives you hope.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd say, what's hopeful, I hear about, from other directors and other centers that they do struggle getting staff. Like, I think we're pretty well staffed at Conmigo. My concern is that I really, really want to pay them a professional wage, because that's what they are. So, yeah. But I'm happy to say that, we do get wonderful, wonderful teachers. And I
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think that there's been an evolution of the way that we think about childcare in our state. Iowa consistently ranks in the top 1 to 3 of states with parents in the workforce. So I think there's a recognition from our policymakers that the reality is most of our families will utilize childcare. And in order for families to be able to work and in order for the economy to keep moving, families need to have access to quality childcare. And so I think the revelation that childcare is a complex issue, both obviously financially and then the workforce issues that go along with it, I think that that will drive change and that will cause the system to improve.
Thank you. I just appreciate all of you sharing your experiences today and your expertise. I think today's conversation reminds us that childcare isn't just a policy issue, it's personal. Mm-hmm. I loved hearing about Conmigo. Who couldn't use more happiness and laughter in their lives? I love that you shared that that's the experience they have. I hope I can schedule a visit soon.
I would really love
that.
Love to show you around.
Behind every statistic is a child learning, an educator showing up with care and expertise, and a family working to build a stable future. These lived experiences help guide how United Way of Central Iowa invests in strengthening childcare centers, supporting educators, and helping families thrive. If today's stories resonated with you, there are ways you can get involved, and there are ways you can make a big difference. As Kate mentioned, you can volunteer to be a book buddy. Many of our Bankers Trust team members are book buddies and read to kids every week. Advocate for the policies that value educators and families. Learn more about how United Way is investing in childcare solutions. And you can do that at www.unitedwaydm.org/childcare. Thank you for sharing your stories and for getting personal. I know that's not always easy, but it's important. And those stories are what really brings these data statistics to life. Listeners, join us next time in our final episode in this childcare series when we look ahead to what it will take to build stronger childcare systems for the future. Thank you for listening, and please share this podcast with others who may be interested in this important topic and helping us move forward together.